Welcome everyone to the first episode of Marketing Minds of Tomorrow. I'm your host Caden, and today I'm joined with my co-hosts Lauren and Cade. The premise of the show is simple. We go into the minds of industry leaders, small businesses, and college student perspectives on what it means to be a digital marketer in today's day and age. Now I'm very excited to share this inaugural episode where we talk to Kathy Fredrickson. She's the Digital Marketing Clinic Director at UW Oshkosh. She developed the concept for the Digital Marketing Clinic in 2020 with Dan Brosman of the SBDC. This was a result of small businesses in dire need of support due to the pandemic back in 2020. In this episode, we talk about our passion for helping small businesses, challenges faced over the years, the Digital Marketing Clinic, along with the services provided within the clinic. All right, let's begin with Kathy Fredrickson. Kathy, how's it going?
Going well, Caden. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. This is our first podcast. Are you ready to be our first guest?
I am ready. I have been ready for 3 years. We have been wanting to do this for a while, so I am ready.
Obviously, you know us pretty well, but the people listening will get to know us even better, maybe, over the next couple weeks, these next couple episodes. So we thought that we'd start off by talking to the person that sees us every day, that had the idea for the podcast, that is the most enthusiastic about the podcast. So for everybody listening, welcome Kathy Fredrickson to the first ever Marketing Minds of Tomorrow podcast. I'm excited. So Lauren, Kate, are you guys excited? What's going on?
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited too. Kathy, we have you here today as the director of the Digital Marketing Clinic. Why don't you tell the viewers and listeners out there what the Digital Marketing Clinic is all about?
The Digital Marketing Clinic is a student-run digital marketing consultancy based in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We are based at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. We're a statewide initiative, so we serve small businesses usually under $2 million in sales with no cost digital marketing consultation. We've served over 300 businesses in the state of Wisconsin through 45 different counties and have supported 1,800 jobs. We have donated over 5,500 hours of consulting services. So to the best of my knowledge, we're the only statewide initiative for a digital marketing student-run consultancy in the nation, to my knowledge, that runs through the Small Business Development Center network.
Awesome. With your background in not only marketing but business, we haven't even had this talk. I've known you for a while, but what is your why? Why get into this world of not only digital marketing but just business in Wisconsin?
So the why is the passion to see small businesses thrive. So some statistics run will say nearly every business is considered a small business, and that's a pretty broad range. You could take a one-person operation to 500 employees. Our sweet spot are those businesses that do not have that expertise within their organization to deliver digital marketing for their organization. So we work with business owners who are overwhelmed with how rapidly digital marketing changes, and we help them address their most urgent need for digital marketing. And we do that in 20 hours. So when we release clients after engaging with us, we have connecting points for them to reach out to an SBDC, so a Small Business Development Center consultant, to continue that relationship. The why is the idea was born during the pandemic. So I am a marketing faculty member as well as the director of the Digital Marketing Clinic. So when I had to pivot my classroom instruction to go online, like everyone else in the nation, we had about a week to do it. And it was the spring of 2020. And my concern was more about the small businesses who would have to also pivot digital. So I was more concerned about the small businesses. And so I put a message out on LinkedIn and said, I'm looking for small businesses for a classroom project. And within 72 hours, the roster was filled for my class. So, and when the students came back, instead of having a brand of their choosing, they had a small business to work with. And it went so well that fast forward to that summer, I decided to approach our Small Business Development Center director and ask if they would be interested in partnering with me to create a student-run consultancy that would offer these services year-round. And Dan Brosman, who is our center director and now works on statewide initiatives, said enthusiastically, absolutely, I've had a similar idea myself. So he and I were able to get grant funding through CARES. That lasted us for a couple years. And then now we're funded through the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to serve Main Street Bounce Back client recipients, which in our state, there's 9,000 of them. So we're not at a loss for clients. We just work hard every day. We work full-time during the summer. We work part-time when our student consultants are in class, and we help small businesses thrive. So that might be a long answer to your why. We're just really passionate about small businesses because they don't have these services. And we prepare them also not only to work with a Small Business Development Center client, but we prepare them eventually to work with an agency. So when they do get large enough where they can afford those professional services, they've already engaged with a student consultant. They kind of have an idea on what it's like to work with a consultant in the professional realm.
Yeah. I mean, you summarized it pretty well. That gives everybody good insight. Something I've always wanted to ask you, though, is you work with small businesses every day. Obviously, we do as well, being consultants ourselves. But this essentially is your small business. So what was that, that phase like turning into an actual marketing clinic opposed to just an idea? How'd that startup phase allow you to relate to the people you work with every day?
Well, it's all about processes. I mean, during our startup space, we were, engaging with clients. The students were engaging in developing the services based on what they learned in the classroom. As we started to scale and as we started to add more student intern consultants, and you know this from experiencing with us, process is critical. So when we have a kickoff meeting, we have a set outline. A client has already applied to us and has said, here's what I struggle with, but we do our due diligence to take a look at the client, take a look at their website, take a look at the competitive landscape, and develop some questions. And then it's all about communication, which that's the same in the agency world, where you have to keep the client updated. And also it's on the client's part to respond accordingly when we have questions. So I know during the summertime, in the recent weeks for our clinic, it's been a little difficult with some of our clients haven't been the most responsive. And so we have to say, well, what can we do on our end? Like, how many times will we go back to a client and ask them for a response to one of our questions? So it's no different. What we're dealing with is no different than in the real world. People get pulled in a million different directions, but we have to stick to our process. We have to stick to our process of onboarding. We have to stick to our process of client communication, and also keeping other stakeholders informed. So if there is a client that has worked with an SBDC consultant at their office, we will let that consultant know, hey, we're going to engage with the client that you've been serving. You're invited in the kickoff call. You're invited to get progress on how the project is going, and you're invited to do the end. So I do remember the first year vividly. I was taking notes and kind of trying to keep a diary during that first year because it was all so quick and all new and all in development. But I think what helped at the end of the day is my experience as an educator. So I understand when you can provide a student consultant with a framework, when they come into an internship and they've already done similar projects in the classroom, you have a student consultant that's coming in with a level of confidence, because I think you all can relate. How did you all feel when you had your first kickoff call? What was that like?
It was
I was
nerve-wracking, yeah. But you prepared us well, I felt like, even taking your course during the semester and being paired up with another consultant. It was definitely nerve-wracking at first, but I felt ready at least to talk with another small business owner and use my knowledge to help them.
Mm-hmm. And the
I think,
feedback loop is important too, because at the end there's a survey. And so the client will fill out a survey. If there's something that we did with communication, then we can improve our process. So that's an important part too. And now I can tell with this 4-screen environment that we have that I jumped on Cade's question.
that's all good, all good.
Feedback.
I think just like what Lauren was saying with like the pairs, because like I think like first day of work I'd like I was in your class, so like I like knew about like the basics, but I like did not know how to like do my job. So just like going into that first kickoff meeting was definitely like nerve-wracking, but I was with AJ and like he knew what he was doing. He's been here a while, and I don't know, like just like seeing kind of like shadowing over him like helped a lot.
Something that was different for me, I mean, I'm thinking about it now. I wasn't in that class. So just kind of that process, like you guys had that class, you guys obviously shadowed somebody. All I had to go off of was the training that Kathy gave me, and then people that were experienced in different things. Like one of the old interns, Nate, was very experienced in the backlink SEO type of stuff, but somebody else that I worked with named Lauren was very into the artsy, infographic stuff. So learning the through other people is definitely a giant part of what made me a little bit more confident in my kickoff meetings and just talking with clients as a whole.
And I feel like you saying that even, obviously in whole, this is supposed to help the small businesses, but this is also impacting us significantly. This is such a hands-on internship experience where we're able to dive into these small businesses and help them with their issues and be very hands-on and give them real feedback that they may actually implement into their digital marketing plans. So I just think it's a cool experience that we are able to have too. Like we're able to help the small businesses, but this is giving us so much experience to leave with once we are graduated.
And that was the vision that I had, taking the classroom to having the applied projects to now applying it to client scenarios. And so any research has come out, that shows the impact of learning. It goes from theory to application to experiencing, really.
Mhm.
So that's what we're providing all of you every day, which is very fulfilling. There's no better opportunity to do that level of consulting and troubleshooting. There's always troubleshooting with clients, which is really the goal of when we want to bring this message out to a broader audience in a podcast. We want to talk about those clients. We want to interview those clients and have them come on and say, well, here were the troubles that I had. Here were some of the roadblocks. And working with a student consultant, here were some of the outcomes that we had. And those outcomes aren't perfect. I mean, there are clients that take our recommendations and they implement it. There's clients that see the recommendations and then get busy on their business. And then we look back and we see that things haven't been implemented. But we'll get into those stories as we start interviewing clients for this podcast as well.
Yeah, for sure. When I think of the term digital marketing, at least for when I came in as an intern slash consultant, I might have been under the umbrella of just, hey, social media post, social media post, social media post. In your time as a marketer, as a businesswoman, how is the term digital marketing strained from just social media post? How is it, grown? What are the misconceptions that people might see? Because in all honesty, when we have some of these meetings, at least some things that I run into is, yeah, you might not be as interested as I am as in the analytics side, the SEO side, all that backlink stuff. They just want to see all the pretty stuff, and that's fine, but I think there's more to it. So how have you seen that growth, and how has it changed in the past 20 years since that you've been working?
Well, digital really started when the internet started to take off. And I have the benefit where when I entered the advertising agency field in 1995, we were just starting to build websites. So it was an amazing time. Most of our work was traditional. I actually worked with artists who would sketch ads on vellum paper and then sketch a concept and sketch another one. And it was an amazing creative experience that I think sometimes even in the digital realm, we get away from. So marketing itself has always been about the art of persuading. You're persuading a target audience to believe in your brand and to believe that brand is going to deliver a great service or product and experience. So it's always about, there's always room for great creative. So marketing itself is the art of persuasion. Digital marketing is when you take that art of persuasion and you're doing it in a digital environment. And so now with the advent, it happened in 1995 with websites, people had a means to look at information about a brand and had the mechanism to connect with someone to get more information. And so we saw the advent of websites. And then in the late 90s, we started getting into a lot of digital advertising. So what you see in search has become, it's still important. So Google search at the time that we were doing it, we would love to have conversion rates, of 20 to 30%. You're lucky, like if you can hit a conversion rate that is 3 to 5%. It's changed because of the competitive landscape. But the structure, it's amazing. Google Ads, Google AdWords, and Google Search and everything with the Google ecosystem started in the mid 90s. So it started around that advent of websites. So there's a lot of business. There's a lot of just a lot of commerce going on in digital marketing, and it has evolved and it's become more sophisticated. And then, as you said, Caden, like digital marketing, is it social media? Well, social media started, and if you see those the movies about how Facebook started, and it started as incubation ware in the college environment with college students that had an idea that they wanted to have people connected digitally to make that easy to contact somebody, meet new people. So it was about that social connection. And then what do marketers do? When things evolve and consumers are somewhere, marketers want to reach them. So Facebook started doing advertising. Instagram held out for a long time and then started doing advertising. So now your ecosystem starts to get, more vehicles to connect with your consumers, and it gets more complex for the marketer. So the marketer is doing everything from website and optimizing that website, search engine optimization, social media marketing, email marketing, creating digital assets. And so all of that falling under the umbrella, again, lands where for our target audience at the clinic, it lands on the shoulders of a small business owner who hasn't had the training and who is trying to learn and trying to manage this all on their own. So again, leveraging our expertise that we've learned, me as a practitioner, you having been in the classroom and now getting all these great skills, we're in digital marketing. So it's an exciting time. There'll always be something new. There'll always be something new. Like when I teach digital marketing, my course is completely revamped every single semester because there is something new. My generation, we're so we benefit from having seen like the beginning stages, and we kind of leverage that because nothing can take away somebody's creative idea, even AI. I mean, when you see good creative and good advertising, I mean, I recently saw a packaging reformulation of I think it was on LinkedIn. The brand was showing the old packaging for a protein
the RX bar?
Yeah, the RX
I saw
bar,
that.
and then how they did it by saying, here are the 5 ingredients, no bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was completely revolutionary.
Yeah.
So there is always room for great creative, and that's at the end of the day what keeps me in the field is the opportunity that we haven't seen a great creative campaign yet. There is always room for a great creative idea. And we've got the best target audience because they're hungry for it. They're more, in many ways, more receptive than maybe a large organization.
Definitely.
I guess how do you what are your recommendations? I know we've all kind of had these clients, but like for anybody that's listening that might deal with people like this in any workforce, like how do you get away from people with egos that you give them your consulting time, you give them your best effort, and then they say, "Well, I don't like this." What's the next step or mental process for you with people like that that might not like what you have to offer?
Well, there will always be people who, you know, are trying to make changes because at the end of the day, we as consultants realize that they develop the brand. So
Hmm.
imagine here at the clinic, let's say you think of all the time that we invested in the branding of our wonderful podcast, the Marketing Minds for Tomorrow. And you think about all the effort, we came together very well as a team, and we've developed a lot. We have a lot of brand affection for what we created. So imagine if somebody came in and said that 90% of what we did just won't be effective. And that has remained to be seen. This is a new podcast. Will people like it or not? We don't know. But imagine if somebody said, we're just going to change it. And there would be some pushback, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's the lens that I view it as, because I had many times in the agency business where somebody said, we just don't like it. And so then I had to go back to the agency, work with the creative team who was frustrated with that news, work with owners who said, we've already invested a lot of time into this project. We had to figure out a way. At the end of the day, that client is just saying, I really love my brand. And you haven't shown me something that I really think is going to move the needle in getting me more sales. So at the end of the day, they're a business that they want more sales. And so I think it's just a natural extension. And that, at least if I can put that lens, and then if I can help the student consultants put that lens on it to say, they're just so invested in the business. It's not about you. It's not about what the team said or presented. It's just they're so invested that they're trying to say it's not us. Learn about us better,
Yeah.
understand us more. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah. It's always interesting. I remember you were there when I had a bad meeting last summer. They didn't like what I
Mm-hmm.
had to offer, and just
Mm-hmm.
hearing, a little bit of guidance, maybe a little bit of process, just is
Mm-hmm.
a life lesson as well. So
Right.
interesting.
And I heard that same feedback too. And here, I've been in the industry, as I said to all of you and to the listeners, that I've been in the industry since 1995. So in a way, when a client says, no, I don't believe it's going to work, when we have seen it work with so many of our other clients, it's kind of hard. So we just have to, at the end of the day, say it's not necessarily a reflection on us personally. It's a reflection on somebody who's so invested in the brand and they believe so strongly in the direction that they're taking the brand that sometimes it's hard to hear different feedback.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Um, since this is something that you created and there isn't any of these digital marketing clinics around Wisconsin that we know of, a lot of people are probably wondering, what do we actually do at a digital marketing clinic, especially since we're college students, we're not a large scale agency. Um, if we kind of want to talk about, what we do as student consultants, kind of a day in the life at the digital marketing clinic to give people kind of an idea of what we do.
Wonderful. So most of our clients, 90% of them, have not optimized their website. And so there are so many times that we've seen the client and they're in a specific industry and they have a landing page that's called services, and their core services, there may be 10 of them, are all nested under that. And let's say each of those 10 services has the potential to get qualified prospects to their site. They're specifically searching for that service. They're not being found. There's not a match when somebody searches in Google. Google is an algorithm, they want a match. So oftentimes we are providing recommendations on specific pages, and we call those pages landing pages. And we use keyword research tools to quantify what is your potential of the volume of traffic. How competitive is that space in your geographic market? So we have those keyword tools that are critical to our clinic, and it's critical to the development of search engine optimization for clients. So we see that in one bucket as like their website. What are those pages called? How have they built out their website? Most businesses just built out a website based on here's what we're about, and they did not take into consideration search engine optimization. So that's about 90% of our business offerings is to clean up. We like to say, oftentimes at the clinic, we say we're just cleaning up their house. I mean, their house, their website is their hub. It is the hub for their customers and their prospects. So we clean up that house for them. That is a big service we provide. Now, beyond that, if we have some more time engaging with the clients, they want to hear from you, which again is another reason why we created this podcast. You're the ones on social media 24/7. You know the platforms. You know what engages with target audiences. You know the trends that are going on. So a lot of times we'll do a social media plan with content buckets and ideas and maybe some hashtag research to see, hey, if we would use these hashtags, if we talk about these topics related to our business, we might get, again, more volume, more traffic coming in ultimately to our website. So that is a big service that we provide. And then finally, it's a digital asset creation, which is like the third bucket of services. And within that, we have logo, digital, like photography, brand standards, videos. And if a client comes to us, and you all have seen it, where we have clients who have come to us without a brand, without a logo. And we feel that actually would be the first service that we would provide to them. So they leave our engagement with them with a logo and with a brand standard. And that again is great creative work.
Yeah, definitely. Most of my clients so far have been all SEO. And I think, especially when you're able to help them implement it, it's super cool to watch those numbers go up if you have their analytics and things like that, or just hearing feedback in general, like, oh, we've gotten so many more leads since you've helped us with our website. So I think that, yeah, that is a huge thing for small businesses, and it's awesome to be able to help them with that.
Yeah, I think a big part of my work with clients is like educational content in general, because it's like fun to directly implement stuff, but a lot of times it's because we want them to know how to do it later without us around, because we can only do this once. So teaching them how to research keywords or just understand what SEO is like super important. And I think there's so many elements to SEO with technical SEO, offsite, onsite, that it's just really important to just teach them about all that. And then we can save the recording and send it to them, and they can just like try and take it all in. I think that's like a big part of it too.
So now that we've kind of just talked about what the Digital Marketing Clinic is, who we serve, all of the above, this podcast is really just, we're using this as a tool for small businesses that we haven't been able to help yet, and just being able to get more information out through the college student consultant perspective. So in the future, we have another episode that we're going to focus on the importance of social media marketing with a guest, Chris Burns. So that will be our next episode that everybody can be on the lookout for. And we're super excited to just continue on with this podcast and share our insights and knowledge that we have, and bring on guests that can bring benefit to everybody as well.
Cade, Lauren, and I want to thank Kathy for coming on the very first episode of Marketing Minds of Tomorrow. We had a ton of fun talking to her, and are looking forward to seeing where this thing goes and how it grows. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give us a rating and review. This episode and all future episodes are available on whatever platform you guys listen to your podcasts. I'm very excited to talk to our next guest in the upcoming weeks, and we'll see you all soon.